Hello and welcome to this week's GG Weekend Watch, kindly sponsored by SBK, with your usual team of Daryl Carter, Andrew Mount and myself to guide you through all of the weekend action then from Sandown and Wincanton, where we have the Grade 1 Tolworth Hurdle as our feature race, as well as a whole host of supporting good betting opportunities in handicap form for our other races that we're going to cover today, as well as anywhere else where the lads want to take us to, of course, for some of their best bets. And hopefully we can keep the ball rolling from last week, because yes, all three of our naps came in last week. I'm going to milk this rule. It's worth. I've only got a week's worth of it, so I'm going to make it count. So we're going to bask in the glory for as long as possible, when pats on the back all round, lads, for last week's nap tipping, because we had King of the South winning at 9-2 for Andrew, Coolbane Boy winning at 11-2 for Daryl as his nap, and also tipped up by Andrew, and Long Press winning at 7-4 for me as my nap, but of course tipped up by the lads as well. But Daryl did have further winners in the form of Amour de Nuit at 6-4 and Stormy Island at 4-1 as well. So very well done, lads. More of the same this week, please. And we shall begin. We're going to head to Sandown. We're going to begin with the 150. This is a 0-145 handicap chase for 5-year-olds and over just shy of 2 miles, where we have 7 declared running. And at the time of recording, oh, my betting's actually changed, so I don't know who is the current favourite at the time of recording, because it's flip-flopped all over the place. However, interesting start to the day. Andrew, would you like to kick us off, please?
Yeah, when you said, can we go anywhere else? How about, can we go to Sunday or Friday or next Tuesday or anywhere else except
or to
Saturday?
February? Should we just skip to February and miss January or
yeah, that's not a bad idea at all, actually. It's the quality is not supersonic as you'd expect, but a bit of a lull this week after the excitement of the Christmas and New Year racing. So if you have won a few quid combining our 3 naps in a multiple bet, as a lot of watchers and podcast listeners seem to, from what we saw on social media, then maybe back some of it and keep your powder dry for later in the year. But yeah, this is super tricky. There was 4 that I was interested in as potential winners. Moonlighter, despite the fact that he's a complete rogue who jumped out to his left, jumps out to his left sometimes violently. He's still won right-handed. He's a course and distance winner. I think the key to him is the deeper the ground, the better. On the chase course, they're calling it good to soft in places. If that becomes heavy, I'd certainly want to have something on him. The others are sort of half chances for me. Bundoran, horse you know a lot about, being from the Tom George yard. Probably best left-handed, but he has won this way around. He tends to go well sort of November, December, January time. And if there's a strong pace, he'll run well. He's run well at Cheltenham the last twice, behind Editor De Geet, finishing 3rd and 4th. Monsieur Lukaku likes the track, 1st, 2nd and 3rd from 3 runs here. He's another one who should be thereabouts. But I'm going to side with Paddy's Poem. I wouldn't regularly want to back Nick Gifford runners. He's got 197 days and 50 runners since a winner, but he did have a second the other day. But this horse goes well fresh. Last year, he reappeared in this race after a 393-day break. He finished 2nd at 16-1 to Ibleo, only beaten a length and a bit. The season before, he won first time out. And you look at his record over fences, he's very rarely out the first 3. He's placed in 10 of his 11 chase outings. The exception was in the Paddy Power Plate at last season's Cheltenham Festival. When he's gone right-handed, he's had 6 runs over fences, 3 wins, 2 seconds and a third. So good second in this race to a very progressive sort who he's probably not going to bump into in what looks a weaker renewal. So yeah, I'd go Paddy's Poem each way to run another good race right-handed when fresh.
Yeah, certainly. So Paddy's Poem. I don't have a price there. If you do, Andrew, for an each way.
I don't. I'm going to make one up, 16-1.
Yeah,
14-1.
Oh, close.
Pardon, Daryl, what was that? Apologies.
He's 14-1.
14-1 there. Oh, so you weren't far wrong then, Andrew. Yeah. So Paddy's Poem, that will certainly be an each way price at the time of recording for Andrew. Daryl, then yourself, please, for this race.
Yeah, I thought Andrew summed this up quite well. You can sort of give half chances to a lot of these, can't you? And they are sort of half chances as well. I think a lot of these are going to need to see Gunsight Ridge underperform. I think the second behind the Home Press last time at Exeter was a good good run, he could do no more than he did there. He's got up £3 for that, but prior to that, at Aintree, he shaped though he was going to improve for the run. So I still think he's slightly on the upgrade. You could say he's a winner in waiting, really. I mean, I've been saying that about him since January last year when he was off 120. He's £10 higher now. But look, this might just turn out to be quite a good opportunity. A lot of these need to bounce back. Moonlighter is throwing in poor runs here, there, and everywhere. Monsieur Lecoq was terrible over hurdles the last day. Bundoran caught the eye a little bit staying on, but the ground is going to be a concern for him. I thought Up the Straight was the one probably going to give him the most problems. The drop back to 2 miles is quite interesting. He just seems to have not seen out the 2.5 mile trip lately. Now, he has done before, so it is a slight concern that he hasn't been doing it. I'm not entirely sure it's the trip that's been getting him beat, but if it's going to be deep ground, he's definitely going to stay this 2 miles strongly. So he would probably be the biggest danger. I'm not going to have a bet in the race, but I thought Gunsight Ridge, if you could, wait for a little bit of a drift, 2 to 1, 9 to 4, if you can get that sort of price on him, then perhaps he'd become a bet. But I thought he was the most likely winner.
Yeah, I totally agreed with this race, really, because I thought it was so difficult for me to decide between Notre and Gunsight Ridge because they both are so similarly profiled in this race. So, I mean, I'll probably back both if I can get, as you say, sort of around 2 to 1, 9 to 4 around Gunsight Ridge anyway. But if there was a gun to my head, I would probably side with the gun itself with Gunsight Ridge because he just has the almost perfect profile for this race. He's a 7-year-old. He's probably not ideally highly enough rated for me on this mark of 130. However, he did run to an RPR, as you say, Daryl, of 137 last time out, which certainly puts him into the reckoning for this race. I'm hoping he'll be ridden prominently here. And as you say, of course, his second last time out to Long Press doesn't look too shabby at all now, really, does it? And he was 10 lengths clear of the third horse. So the £3 rise, more than feasible for him. And he's had a good recovery time since that latest outing as well. So tentatively, it's going to be Gunsight Ridge over Numitor for me, but not the easiest of opening races for us to cover. And that's sort of a theme I feel throughout the action that we're covering this weekend. So I wanted to get a bet out of the way, sort of early doors, really. But we will move on to the 225. This is a highlight race of the day in the form of the Grade 1 Tolworth Novices Hurdle for 4-year-olds and over again, just shy of 2 miles, where we have this super exciting Constitution Hill, hoping to make it 2 from 2 over this course and distance and to make himself the more of a solid proposition, I guess, for the Supreme Novices Hurdle at the festival. But of course, he is a short price. So, Daryl, do you take him on here, side with him, or do you find another betting angle into this race, please?
Another betting angle in here. You certainly don't take him on. Well, I hope not. I hope he's a superstar. I really do. I hope he's everything that he promised he could be on debut. I thought it was remarkable. I've watched that performance back so many times. I'm still in awe of it. I hope he is the horse that we all hope he is, because we definitely do need it. Even if it's just for the British team at Cheltenham, we definitely do need it. I didn't think we would learn too much more about him, though, in terms of the level of his form, because I don't think this is that deep. I don't know why Jetoil is the second fav. I mean, they're 8 to 1 bar Constitution Hill, or around that sort of mark anyway. But I thought Jetoil was vastly overrated in second. I thought Mr. Glass coming back from 2 miles 6 to 2 miles was a very, very strange move. I think he's definitely an out-and-out stayer. He looks a nice prospect, that's for sure. But definitely his future lies over further. I thought the bet in here without Constitution Hill, now obviously we don't know any prices to the day, is Shall We Have One More for Gary Moore. I really like this horse. I think he's a very, very smart prospect. He ran an excellent time figure on debut at Kempton in a bumper, won by 4.5 lengths. And then at Ascot, he was just far too keen in the early stages when he was nabbed by Can Do Kid. That form has not worked out too badly. But again, though, he improved on his speed figure again. He is just such a fluid jumper of a hurdle. He's so fast as well. I mean, I would prefer this at a track like Kempton again, or something like that, because he's just so quick. So I think he will give Constitution Hill something to think about. That's definitely for sure. He won't mind the soft ground. He just needs to settle. Yeah. But I really can't see anything else in this race outspeeding him. So I'm hoping he doesn't do too much on the front. I'm hoping Constitution Hill picks him up and wins going away like a very good horse, because I do quite rate this. Shall We Have One More? And I'm going to back him without. So I don't know what price I'm going to get yet, but that'll have to go on the column, because that's going to be on the day thing.
Yeah, you say that will probably be, like I say, we'll know nearer the time what price you can get without Constitution Hill for Shall We Have One More, and the hope that he settles more so the last time out, and hopefully that freshness has just been knocked out of him on this second run of the season as well. But like that angle into this race. Andrew, how do you play this race?
Very similar to Daryl. I've tipped Shall We Have One More in the Racing Football Outlook this week on Tuesday. He was a big eye catcher at Ascot, not just because he pulled hard, but because he also raced towards the inside of the track where the ground was slower. Everything was coming late and wide that day. That was a real taking run. He was entered in the maiden hurdle at Wincanton as well, but has chosen to come here instead. So I thought, back him each way, even with 2 places, or back him without the favourite. Or I'll probably do both, to be honest, would be one thing. I mean, Nicky Henderson's comments about Constitution Hill after that win here last time out said Constitution Hill is the most extraordinary creature I've come across in years. So it doesn't always transpire that initial impression leads to sort of success at a higher level. You go back a few years and he had the 6-5 favourite for this race. Was it Rathhill, who I think has hardly been a rival since, and is now with Ben Haslam. So always beware the hype, perhaps. But it all comes down to price, doesn't it? And Constitution Hill's probably going to be about 3 on, and our pick's probably going to be about 12 to 1. And without the favourite, straight forecast to finish second to the favourite each way, or all 3 of those angles would be the way to go, I think. The one I wouldn't be as dismissive as Daryl about is Jetois, because he won at Leicester in the swamp, making the running on the inside. Very difficult to do that at Leicester on the hurdles track when it's on the deep side, and I was really impressed by that win last time out. So I thought he would run well, but yeah, I would have Shall We Have One More as second favourite behind Constitution Hill. Gary Moore does so well at Sandown, as we know. I can see him going off something like 6 to 1 on the day rather than the 10 to 1 he is now. So there might be a little bit of value getting the 10 to 1 each way now.
Yeah, definitely say that. So both lads agreeing with Shall We Have One More as well. There were 3 different betting angles from Andrew as well, and which way to side with him should you not want to take the short price about Constitution Hill. But both and myself sort of expecting and hoping for a good win from Constitution Hill, because as you say, he has certainly been a hype horse. I mean, I think it was Henderson's assistant trainer who said on Twitter, probably one of the worst kept secrets of all time, when he made his rules debut last time out. But hopefully we'll see an impressive performance from him nonetheless in the Tolworth. Now we move on to one of my favourite races of the season. It is the Veterans Handicap Chase Series final, of course, for 10-year-olds and over. But in order to qualify for this race, you can't realistically be a 10-year-old in here. So the 11-year-olds are the youngest that we have in here, and ASO currently heads the betting. So Andrew, back to you, please, for these old boys.
Yeah, fascinating race, as you say, because you have to have run in one of these races last year. So, of course, you'd have to be 10 last year. So 11 is the youngest age group who can take part in this. We've had 6 runnings of this final, and we've had sort of three 11-year-olds, 3 older than that. Bit of an equal split. Interesting, though, those who ran in a Veterans Chase last time out are only 1 from 40. That's something perhaps to bear in mind. And it does tend to help to have a recent run. Every winner of this race had raced within the last 6 weeks, and 5 out of the 6 were ridden by jockeys who weren't claiming an allowance. If you combine those 3 stats, you get 4 winners from 28 and a profit of £22 plus 7 more placed. Now, ASO last time out ran into Black Hill, who of course has won again since. But I mean, ASO is a front runner in a race that's chock full of front runners. There's loads more pace in this race as well as him. And he's never won a chase of more than 7 runners. So I know he's run well in big fields occasionally, placing in the Ryanair, for example, of course, behind Frodon. But, will he be able to dominate? Will they go too fast and set it up for a closer? Very possibly. We've seen enough winners of this race come from off the pace. I mean, Sir Ivan placed last year. He was 4th in the final nudge veterans race last time out, doing best of the prominent races when the pace collapsed and the first 3 came from well back. maybe he could place again. It wasn't a race that I was particularly enamored with. I tipped up Wandering Star last time, but he goes well fresh. He tends to go backwards after his seasonal debut effort, so I can't quite see why he's 8-1. I'd have him closer to 16-1, given his likely regression from that debut effort. So I've sort of been round and round in circles in this race, spent far too much time on it, and came up with absolutely nothing. So over to you, Daryl.
Nicely done. What a good use of your time then to go around in circles to come up with an out in the end. Daryl, do you have any stronger opinions in this race?
Not a really strong opinion. I didn't quite attack it from the way Andrew did with the statistics, but I've just double checked, and mine does fit all three of those.
Yeah.
So Gwencily Berbas for David Piper's the horse.
Oh, Daryl, that's mine. Yes, carry on, please.
Quite interested in. I don't know about the ground. If the ground gets too deep, I think that might be a slight concern. But I just thought he ran really well in shape like he needed the run behind Wandering Star at Sandown on seasonal return. And then went and bolted up at Exeter in really, really good style. And I thought that I just think he's in the form of his life. And when you get to this sort of age group, half of the battle is getting them there in form. He ticks that box. He was rated 149 over hurdles. He's got some really smart back 2-mile form over hurdles. If you go back far enough, when it was really tough to win a Grade 1, he was placed in the Hatton's Grace, I think, a few years ago. He's just a really nice horse. I didn't really have a strong opinion, but I just felt there was a lot of negatives with a lot of these. ASO, I thought, going right-handed. I know he has one right-handed before people start commenting. But I just didn't think in recent times his right-handed performances have been as good as left-handed performances. So perhaps going this way round is not what he wants at this age. I agree with Andrew. Wandering Star was a horse that you want to catch fresh. And I just didn't really find as many negatives with Gwencily Berbas as I did with everything else in the race. And thanks to ASO being in here off 11-12, he only carries 10-9. 132 is definitely not beyond him. He's one of this, within the last couple of years. I thought there was few negatives for one that ran well at the course on this penultimate start as well. So 12-1, I think he is.
Yeah, around 12-1. And as you say, when you consider all the questions that have to be answered from the majority of his rivals here, at least a horse that comes here in form, and we like to think we know a little bit more about his attitude in this type of a contest than a few of these. So Daryl, I'm pleased though. I'm pleased you've gone with him here, because you say, I found this weekend so hard to have a bet. This is only my second bet that I've covered so far or throughout this card, and that is Gwencily Berbas, because as you say, he just fits all the profile that I want for this race. He's an 11-year-old rated 1-2, which is an ideal mark for this race. He'll hopefully take a lead again here, because as Andrew said, as usual, there's plenty of pace on in these veterans races, which is understandable because most of them are a bit wise to the game. So you want them out in front to save on them sulking. However, that shouldn't be an issue for Gwencily Berbas, because after he won from coming from off the pace last time out to win at Exeter, and he's one of the few I liked in this race who have had more than one run this season as well, with that latest start coming a month ago, which is ideal. So it is Gwencily Berbas for me. And to be honest with you, on a tricky weekend, he's probably going to be the nap, basically, because I'm struggling through the rest of these races. So we'll move on to the 3:35. This is our final race at Sandown. It's a 0-145 handicap hurdle for 4-year-olds and over, again over just shy of 2 miles, which looks a pretty open and intriguing race. So Daryl, back to you please for this race.
Yeah, this Holmes boy could absolutely bolt up off this mark of 124. He's definitely been trained with handicaps in mind. If you go right back and watch his last few runs, even the Exeter run, he wasn't pushed out too hard at the finish. I wouldn't take the form boost of that Dubrovnik Harry in third, literally, though, because that horse had absolutely no clue what he was doing that day, throwing his head around all over the place, jumping out to the left and right. He went out and bolted up next time. He's a very, very smart horse, he is. But I wouldn't take that as a form boost for Hermes Boy. He just kept it simple off the front end. Prior to that banger, he was just sort of held on to. It was quite cheeky, really, by Chester Williams. You could see the commentators going, he's not making any inroads, and I'm thinking, because he's not trying. But he's definitely had, and it was the same at Worcester the time before that. Behind, I like to move it. Look, the form all looks good. It's there for everybody to see, isn't it? He's at the top of the market. He'll definitely go well, that's for sure. The ground might just be a slight concern, but he's definitely the rightful favourite. I didn't really like anything else in the middle of the pack. I thought Mac the Man I mean, he's capable. He's not really progressing the way I would like to have him to progress. I thought he held on last time at Exeter. There's been a lot of talk about natural history, but I've been through this horse time and time again. I know he's only a couple of pounds higher than when he bolted up on handicap debut at Plumpton, but he just didn't really beat much at all. And he seems to like that sharp Plumpton track. I just couldn't get enough from his Doncaster run last time to think that he's going to, take a step forward 28 days later and go and bolt up of a mark 119. Of the rest, I didn't really like him, but I thought the bet in here was the outside of the field, Hydroplane, who's got a first-time tongue tie on. I would forgive this horse whose last run at Doncaster. It just wasn't him for whatever reason, but he has done that previously. He's returned off the back of a break and he's just put in a bit of a no-show, and then he's put that well behind him next time out. He was highly progressive last year over hurdles. He absolutely bolted up in a couple of contests. Now the form is not that strong, but his Ludlow second to take it easy when he just shaped like he needed a stiffer test. To take it easy, he's rated 134 now, so he's a lot higher. I can't do the maths at the moment. That is quite good. He just shaped like he just needed a stiffer test. He's quite a quick horse, but he really does need that extra test of stamina. They looked at going up and trip at Kempton with him over Christmas on Boxing Day. I tipped him for that, and they pulled him out. Unsuitable ground. I don't know why, because he's won on soft ground, like quite impressively at Market Raisin last December. I think this softer surface will actually help turn this into a bit more of a stamina test, and I think that's what he wants. And he's got the sharp turn of foot to get away from get out of the ground as well. I thought he was going to be the biggest danger to the favourite. So while Hermsboy will probably bolt up off of 1-2-4, I thought 16 to 1 about Hydroplane was too good to pass up, really. And first time tongue tie as well. So lots of reasons to think the 6-year-old can improve.
Yeah, definitely so. So Daryl going for a couple of selections there, bookending the market as it currently stands. Hermes Boy as a favourite to win off of this marker 1-2-4 to emulate his stable mate Michelle Lecoq, who won in 2019. And also, though, the outsider of a lot, if you can get 16 to 1, think about Hydroplane. That looks a really nice shout as the outsider of the field. Andrew, yourself, please, for this race.
Yeah, I thought it was hard to get away from the top of the market. I mean, the Hermes Boy's obviously been laid out for this, and I thought, maybe was he flattered by racing up the inside and racing prominently at Exeter last time where the better ground was? And then you look at it and think, no, he's won with a ton in hand, and he'll probably win this. The only slight concern is this going to be one of those Sandown meetings where the front runners towards the inside rail are on the slowest part of the track, and all they do is set it up for those coming wide round the outside, taking the Paddy Brennan route, like in that handicap hurdle here recently, in which Navajo Pass, who runs here, actually was one of those who set it up for the inside when Summer Reeve won. And you look at all the horses who came late in that race and have run since, they've all been beaten out of sight, pretty much. So Hermes Boy, the obvious danger, Mac my man. I tipped him up at Ascot in December when he was a late non-runner. He's had 6 runs in handicap hurdles over this 2-mile trip, 4 wins, brought down in the Betfair hurdle and finishing well beaten in the Betfair hurdle as well. So those 2 Newbury runs aside in that top handicap hurdle, 4 from 4 in 2-mile handicap. So Mac the man, obvious chance. And because if it does pay to come late and wide around the outside, you've got Paddy Brennan on Fergal O'Brien's Volkovka, who's been in good form, and but again, it's all covered in the prices: 3 to 1 about Hermes Boy, 4 to 1 Mac the Man, 6 to 1 Volkova. There's nothing really sort of meaty to get stuck into there. So I thought it was a race for the market leaders, and there wasn't a huge amount of value in there. Saying that, if they go off a 2 to 1, 5 to 2, and 3 to 1, I probably should back them all each way now.
Yeah, exactly. There's your angle. There's your way in for this race. Yes. So Andrew also keen on those towards the head of the market, mainly though for that concluding race at Sandown. So Andrew, I will fire it back to you, please, for anything else from Sandown.
Not a thing.
No worries at all. Daryl, yourself for anything else from Sandown?
Nothing from me, thank you.
No worries. We will move on to our other meeting then at Wincanton, and this is obviously our second meeting of the day. We begin with the Leona Mayer New House Celebration Handicap Hurdle. So a lovely nod and naming of the race to our former colleague on this podcast, of course, and we hope that the new house is lovely, Leona, and perhaps hopefully it's lovelier than this race anyway, because it's a 0 to 105 handicap hurdle for 4-year-olds and over a mile 7. So Daryl, can you kick us off at Wincanton, please?
Yeah, this is my nap in here today.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, this Planned Paradise, top of the market, 4-1. But I think you're going to get a fair full 5-1 price on the day because of the sort of the unexposed nature of the field, really. Yeah, just a 6-year-old, won at Newcastle on handicap debut off a mark of 93. Now, if you go back and watch any of those maiden hurdle runs, he's had 2 for Neil Mulholland, and they were basically just runs to get a handicap mark. He was just held up at the rear of the field, wasn't really doing anything, and it just was what it was. Handicapper game a lowly mark of 93 at Newcastle. He's gone out and he's just made all the running and quickened the rate quite nicely. It was quite a decent performance, to be honest. I went and compared the time figures with the preceding race on the card, or the previous race on the card, rather. It was won by a horse called Since Day One for Donald McCain, who was a 14-length winner, and is now rated 125. That horse was a fraction slower, or was 2 seconds slower than Planned Paradise. But if you take it from the last hurdle, he was just a fraction slower. So it was still a good time, whichever way you want to look at it. And Planned Paradise was actually carrying £9 more than that horse. The second from Since Day One's race is rated 108. Now, Planned Paradise has gone up £11 for that, which I think is more than fair. If you go back to his point-to-point second over 3 miles, behind a horse called Imperial Hope came out and won a bumper. But there's another horse in there called Find the Time, who was just jostling for the lead, but fell at the last. Now, the 3 of them were pulling away from everything else. But Find Your Time is actually rated 116, and he's won his last couple of starts. He's progressive as well. I think this horse has got a good bit in hand. I think he should be rated. He's going to be rated closer to the 120 mark than he is going to be to the 100 mark. So despite him going up £11, I think he's got a good bit in hand. This track should definitely suit him. The rain that we're expecting shouldn't inconvenience him at all. I just think this horse has all been about handicaps for Neil Mulholland, and I think he's got a fantastic opportunity in here. There's a lot of horses in here that look unexposed but are not really unexposed. This Pittsburgh, for example, he travelled through the race nicely at Catterick last time, but it didn't record any sort of figures. The form's pretty worthless. It's all form figures rather than progressive races for a lot of these horses in here. There's one down the bottom called Inferno Sacra for Nigel Hawke. This is quite interesting because I think this is another horse that's been kept for handicaps. He's sort of not been doing a lot, been out the back of the rear of the field. There was one race at Ludlow, not at Ludlow, at Fontwell last time, where he was held up at the rear of the field with a little pack of them, and then he decided to go and make his challenge once, the first 3 had gone over the last hurdle. So he's one to keep an eye on. And Coupe de Bowl for Tom George. I don't know if you know about this horse, do you, Kate?
Yeah, no, he's lovely.
The French form actually looks quite useful from Compiègne over there. He finished 3rd, obviously. The second has been running in grade 1s, grade 3s. We're calling an RPR of 137. This is obviously a handicap day with 106. I thought this horse would be the biggest danger to Planned Paradise. But I'm hoping you can tell me a little bit more and put my mind at ease.
Yeah, I mean, he's fascinating. Obviously, he's running in, I think he's meant to be running in the Tim Sider colours now. He was previously just with Terry Warner, and he's gorgeous. He really is, this huge, lovely, big grey. And we've always thought a lot of him because he looks the part and he shapes the part. But goodness, he was just too big for his own good at a young age, and he had so many issues then as a result. But last time out, he ran an awful lot better than I was expecting. I mean, I know he sent off at a big price for that, but the way he travelled into the race was so convincing. And goodness me, he would have needed that no end because he's such a big, stuffy horse. And I just think he did just blow up as much as anything else there. So he does look a really good bet at 12-1. And as you say, it is good soft ground, and whether or not Wincanton will suit him, but if the rain does come and it softens up, that will suit him no end because he's meant to be
title to improve a good deal.
Yeah, he's an awful lot better than this mark. He should be an awful lot better than this mark anyway. But 12
back and both then. Back and both. That's
back and
both. Up.
So 12
Thank
to
you
1.
very much.
Good old Coupe de Bowl. And but the nap though, Planned Paradise. 4-1.
Say nap.
Pardon?
But Planned Paradise. I will just have a savour on Coupe de Bowl because it was pretty much the only horse in the field that I was slightly worried about. That
Ooh.
it's just the long time between the two runs, and this is the first time for your horse at Thomas to just take that next step forward.
Yeah.
And I don't. Yeah, you know, and actually improve for a run rather than having another long break and then needing another run. So yeah, I will back Tom George's horse, but Plan Paradise would be the bigger bet of the two, I think.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's in the 130 then. Andrew, your take on this race, please.
Yeah, I don't believe you. I don't believe this is a televised race on a Saturday. It's diabolical.
I did have to double check a few times. I was like, have I read this wrong? Are we doing this on a Saturday? Okay.
And I just hope the owner's new house is stronger than the field in this race. Otherwise, it will be a wreck next week. So I did have one. I did have one a half like for this when I looked at the race at the 5-day stage. That was Peckinpah for Alan King, who raced in the Swamp at Fakenham last time. Stick that one on your trackers, perhaps. But as for this one, you know, I haven't got a clue. Kendelu was a horse I bet last time at Huntington. Ran very disappointingly, and the soft ground was to blame. So good to soft in places at the moment with rain forecast. That's obviously got to be a worry. But again, maybe Kendelu, you can forgive that last run. And another one to put in your trackers for when he gets better ground. But yeah, I couldn't recommend a bet in this race. It's an absolute filthy contest.
Very diplomatically stated there. Happy moving in, Leona, though, all the same for your new house, regardless of the race behind you. But at least Daryl's confident with a bet in that race. So we'll move on to the 205. This is a 0 to 130 handicap chase for 5-year-olds and over a mile 7.5 furlongs. So Andrew, who do you like in this contest?
Yeah, this is a lot more interesting. Well, not difficult. And this is the penthouse compared to Leona's new house in terms of racing. But I mean, Death Delisle, I was going to field against here because I think he might be best when fresh and has perhaps gone off the boil now. He won his first 2 starts last season. He was won his first time up this term, and I'm just thinking, you know, is that it now? You look at what happened last season. He did seem to regress as the season went on, so that might be what's happening here. Great Diamond is down in grade to a class 3 again, but all his wins have come from sort of March to September, so I wasn't really sure that this was his time of year. That's 2 that are sort of fairly prominent in the market. Originally with Beldemensch, the one who is, I think, favourite, or certainly near enough, around about 4 to 1. I thought, she only ever wins in Mares Only Company, a bit like a horse we talked about last week, the Glancing Queen. But then you look at it, she's only had a couple of runs outside of Mares Only Company. One of those was a fair 6th in a listed bumper. The other one was, I think, 16 to 1, 5th in a handicap hurdle at Lingfield, when she went markedly out to her right and clearly didn't get on with the track. So, she was a big price, but impressed here last time out, albeit in a fairly weak Mares Only field. And she is 2 from 3 at the track. And so I couldn't, although my first thought was to be against her, of the market leaders, perhaps she's one of the stronger ones. But I'm going to go for Out on the Tear, who does tend to do best at this time of year at this trip. 2-mile races, December to February, 8 runs, 4 wins, 7 runs, 4 wins and 2 seconds, as well as a 5th. Yet to win right-handed, which is a slight niggle. But I just thought, and the price is Out on the Tear around about 10 to 1, 12 to 1, I think. Given that profile in 2-mile races in the winter, then might run a race.
Yeah, definitely so. Out on the Tear to back up that win from last time out around, is say 10 or 12 to 1. Therefore, Andrew, Daryl, yourself, please.
Yeah, I've really struggled with this. I don't know why I struggled with this, because I think Beldemensch ticks all the boxes. It was a really good performance the last day. They went a true gallop. She didn't just sit out the back and pick up the pieces. She was 31 lengths faster than Native Robin's race on the card. She's up £10, but she's so unexposed. And if the rain comes, she just won't mind. She just stays all day. She jumped really well. She's a young, improving horse. I thought she was quite difficult to take on. I was trying to make a case for this Great Diamond, who won 3rd time out in 2019, won race once in 2020, and then won 3rd time out in 2021. And obviously drops in grade today. The hood goes back on. The thing a lot of people know is they took the hood off for him at Newbury last time, and it's just interesting that they reapply it today, put it back in today. That he has won when they've done that before. I just was concerned about the ground, really. I think it's a positive for him going right-handed. Form figures are 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 5. But then again, a bit like Andrew, when he said about him in the spring, I do genuinely think he's probably best on genuine good ground and where he can bounce along off the top of it. Sam Thomas has got an excellent record over fences here. I think he's something like, what is he, like 3 for 6 or 3 for 5, 60% over fences here at Wincanton. So he knows what he's doing, and I just thought it was interesting with the reapplication of the hood. My gut tells me to take a chance on Grey Diamond, but I wouldn't be overly confident.
Go with the gut, Daryl. Go with the gut.
It's big enough.
Never lets anyone down. So no, always go for the gut, and the gut is telling Daryl to go with Grey Diamond at around 6-1 on one of my showings anyway in this race, which is still a pretty fair price in what looks an open race. So move on to the 240. This is a 0 to 125 handicap hurdle for 4-year-olds and over 2 mile 5, where we know plenty about many of these runners, but we do also have some unexposed types in here. So, Daryl, do you go unexposed or exposed, but perhaps with a sliding handicap mark here?
I think you're back 2 here and hope for the best, to be honest.
Ideal.
I think you take one of each. Crossing the Bar is the one I look towards the top of the market. I don't really like the Henderson horse. I think this horse is definitely going to be better than a mark of 108 in time. Whether or not the horse needs to go up and trip like even further over 3 miles, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that Ben Jones was quite easy on this horse at Foss last time, quite bound to the greatness. Everything you look, or everywhere you look over those 2 runs, you kind of get thrown up with a mark in the mid-1-teens. So the fact that he's on 108 on handicap debut is quite interesting. The time before at Lingfield, he made a really bad error at the second last? Stayed on quite strongly. That was over 2 miles. That's definitely too short for him. He's running over 2 miles on the flat. So soft ground today, stepping up to 2 miles 5.5 after running over 2.4 at Foss last time should definitely help. Handicap debut, he's got to be better than a mark of 108. Further down the list, there's lots to like. You can sort of make a case for Apple Rock. You can make a case for Get a Lead, Nichols on the Dime. In terms of Get a Lead, who I've put up a couple of times previously, I think this horse just might have had too many hard races in a row, and I think just needs a break. Golden Emblem is the other one for Neil Mulholland again. Stayed on quite nicely at Plumpton last time. Hasn't got too much in hand off the handicap mark of 113, but is quite capable. One here off 109 last year in March was really quite impressive. Is a horse that's got quite a bit of speed about her. She obviously likes it here. I think with these mares, when you can get them back to tracks that they tend to have enjoyed before, because we know they can be quirky. They can spark back up into life. So I thought it was just eye catching the way Golden Emblem stayed on at Plumpton last time, coming back to Wincanton off a fair mark, 113. I thought could play a hand. Decision time. I think Crossing the Bar is the horse that's got the most potential in the field. So let's go Crossing the Bar.
So Crossing the Bar around 9-2 from what I can see there for this 240 race. But as you say, Golden Emblem and a few other interesting ones in there. Golden Emblem around 10-1 then, because, us mares, we like where we know and we like going back there. So that might well be in our favour then. The Golden Emblem, but Crossing the Bar, the main bet for Daryl. Andrew, yourself, please.
Golden Emblem, Nap. Really like this mare. Since she's had wins, she needs a big field and a strong pace, or one or t'other of those things. Since she's had wind surgery, she's had 3 runs in fields of 12 or more runners. First, third, being a length and a quarter. Couple of runs back at Hereford, she was a bit of an eye catcher because you thought, well, 4 runners, that's no good for her. They looked like there was going to be one front runner in the race, the favourite Kneecap. She's gone and taken on the front runner. And then, because they've set it up for the outsider of the field, her stablemate, Runasimi River. And next time she's gone to Plumpton, I've taken a chance and I've bet her each way, even though there's only 8 runners, because it looked like there would be a good pace with the favourite. As it is, the favourite's just bolted up, but she's picked up the pieces of the rest to get second. So looking at the pace angle, you've got GPEG, Get a Lead, Manvers, Auro Branco, Blair Gowrie, Crossing the Bar, who all can lead or press the pace or certainly track, not be too far away. So I thought there was enough pace, particularly one of those being in headgear for the first time as well. And hopefully it's one of those Wincanton, soft on the inside, front runners die, and out round the outside, here comes Golden Emblem. Easy course and distance winner off a £4 lower mark the last time she made the trip down to Wincanton. I thought she was a great bet each way. 10-1 with every single firm is priced up. One of those is 5 places, which is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, a total gimme therefore. Exactly. They're just offering you money at that with those terms at 10-1 then for 5 places on offer with some of those firms for Golden Emblem, but also Nap for Andrew as well. 10-1 Nap. We're going rogue this week with our naps, which is very entertaining after last week. So we'll move on to our final race of the day, or our final scheduled race of the day. We're back over the fences here. We're in a 0-150 handicap chase for 5-year-olds and over 2 mile 4 with just the 6 declared runners. So Andrew, I'll throw it back to you for this race, please.
And I'll throw it back to you, Pass. I had a cursory glance, ran out of time. Didn't really have anything sensible to say about it.
Wonderful, right? And now we're batting it back across then to Daryl for this race.
Yeah, Stolen Silver's interesting at the top of the market, but I don't know how much he's got in hand off a mark of 145, over 2.5 miles if it gets tested. I don't think he stays that strongly. I couldn't have Montezavoise off the back of a 455-day break, regardless whether the horse is from Paul Nichols or from God's own yard. Couldn't have that horse. Killer Clown, first time tongue tie. It's interesting, but my God, this horse has been disappointing, hasn't he? He fails to deliver on more than one occasion. He's got some strong form, and this is a very weak race. It could just be enough for him to pop up. Slate House is, I think, £14 lower than his last chase mark. Tongue-tied, blinkered first time. Back over fences today. I mean, he could just be on the decline. Really, I've backed him a couple of times over hurdles when he looked like he was shaping quite well. He could just be on the decline now. He's failed to record an RPR anywhere close to what he was doing previously. Notre, Pari, I thought was just rock solid, really. Will run his race, won't mind the ground softening up. Right-handed tracks, no problem. Look, you can tell I'm not overly enthusiastic by this particular race. But I thought Notre Pari was nothing really wrong with him, to be honest. He'll just run his race. The Cathedral Don, the outsider of the field.
Yeah,
I do like him, but
okay,
I'm
good.
waiting for the tongue tie to go back on. I think.
So one to watch then.
Well, yeah, he's already been dropped £11 in 2 runs. And I was hoping they was going to put it on today, but they didn't declare it. So maybe wait for next time when that tongue tie goes back on, when he's been dropped another few pounds after this, I suspect. Yeah.
Would you have a saver just in case today, or do you still don't think it is?
Probably.
If you see the market move, or?
Probably. No, I won't wait for the market to move. If the market moves, I'll just leave and just let it go. But if he drifts, I might.
Okay, interesting then.
That's the way I tend to play. If he drifts to a bigger price, I do. I mean, you can get 25 to 1 on him now. I do think that's rather big, given the doubts about a lot of these runners.
Yeah, plenty.
Yeah, I'll probably back him.
We've talked you into it.
I just only needed a nudge, really.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome then.
Push.
Keep the nudge, Tracey, right here for all of your betting needs. So the Castle Don then, or the Castle Don at 25 to 1, potentially for a little bit of a nudgy sneaker bet. But the main bet is Notre Pari then at 8 to 1 in a pretty tricky concluding race for us from our scheduled races. So, Daryl, I'll throw it back to you, please, for anything else from Wincanton.
I don't know what price is going to be. Blue Stello for Henderson in the 12.55 at Wincanton. He shouldn't be too short because it's quite a competitive race. But I think this horse has got tons more to come. The way he stuck to the task at Warwick last time, he won, but he finished second in a interference and whatnot. But he was coming home like a steam train that day. But no, it's not the most thrilling weekend. I do like to come on here sometimes and have a bit of a, be able to get a bit punchy and say this is definitely going to win. But I think it's going to be a very light weekend in terms of betting propositions for me.
Yeah, if there's any weekend not to be punchy about, this is it. To be completely honest about it, that is totally fair. But Blue Stello have no prices yet. Horse number 1, though, in the 12.55 at Wincanton. Wait to see the price on him. Andrew, anything else from Wincanton?
No, nothing from Wincanton.
No, anything from anywhere else? Any of the other meetings?
Yeah, one at Kempton's evening meeting, the 6.45. There's a good conditions contest. I like Fernando RAH. You look at the official ratings; he's got the lowest in the field. Lord of the Lodge was rated 108, Apollo 1 102, and he's running off the same. He carries the same weight as those two. Would be getting weighted for a handicap, but Lord of the Lodge is probably just going to set the race up for a closer. He always goes from the front. Apollo 1 tends to go from the front as well, and he's a potential improver this year. Now that he's being gelded, he's very talented. Of the front, well, I suspect of the front two in the market, I haven't seen any prices yet. Apollo 1 would be the one. But Fernando RAH, he's by lethal force, a sire with a poor record on Tapeta. Despite that, he's won at Wolverhampton, and last time out, he bolted up in a field of 14 at Sunny Southwell. Now, he's only had one go on Polytrack. That was over course and distance. He was completely undone by the slow pace when third in a course and distance handicap. So I think Fernando RAH, even though there's only 5 runners, is going to have the race run to suit. And because, lazy odds compilers or lazy punters will look at this race and think he would be getting weight where there's a handicap, and so he should be a big price. I was going to nap him, but I haven't seen any prices. So he could be 7-2, he could be 12-1, probably 6-1 to 8-1 perhaps. But we'll see. But yeah, I thought Fernando RAH had a great chance here, assuming that Lord of the Lodge goes off as he usually does and is closely pressed by Apollo 1.
Yeah, very interesting there for Fernando RAH, horse number 3 in the 6:45 at Kempton. A horse who let me down twice in the racing league, but I don't bear a grudge, so I hope he goes and wins for you, Andrew. Daryl, yourself or anything from anywhere else, please?
No, nothing from me.
No worries. No, to be fair, there's an awful lot of racing still to cover, and you can find any further selections, of course, from the lads on the website at GG.CO.UK. So for naps, just to remind me, please, because I've actually forgotten the times of the races for both your naps. Daryl, your nap was
1:30 Wincanton planned Paradise, but make sure you have a saver on that. On Coupe de Ball.
The ball, yeah. Yeah, but the nap is horse number 3 there, Planned Paradise, but a little saver on good old laid back Larry, as his nickname is, in Coupe de Ball, horse number 1 there in the 1:30 at Wincanton. And Andrew, your nap again, please, just as a reminder.
Yeah, I'm going to Wincanton, the 240 each way on Golden Emblem. 10-1 everywhere at the time of recording. Most firms 4 places, one of them 5 nutters.
Ludicrous, these bookmakers, what they're giving us. Yeah, horse number 8 there, Golden Emblem in the 240 at Wincanton. Then for an each way nap for Andrew, and I don't really know what I'm doing, so I'm going to go to the Veterans Chase to the 3 o'clock at Sandown. And because Sarah gave me a confident nudge in the right direction for myself there, I'm going to go for Gwencily Berbas, horse number 6 in the 3 o'clock at Sandown, in the hope that my veteran can give me another winning nap, and all of our naps can come in again this week. So thanks so much to the lads for all of their hard work. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to our sponsors, SBK. Enjoy the weekend action, and we will catch up with you again next week.